Hello, welcome student. And today's this is the last lectures of our topic number 13, that is communication system. The exactly name of that particular topic, that is topic number 13, is electromagnetic waves and communication system. And we are discuss the different part of that topics. Communication system, this is the second part of the topic, and first part is electromagnetic wave. We are already finished, and today lectures we are finished the next part of the topic number 13, that is communication system. In this lectures we are discuss the same terms which are discussed in the next previous lecture, that is in the terms of discussions of the terms which can be taking the part to the communication system. We are discuss the same point, that is the modulations and demodulation. It is some process we are discussed in the previous lectures when we are start to discussions of the terms which can be taking the part in the communication systems, but we can't be discuss the detailing in the previous lectures what are the types of that modulations or that process. In the previous lectures we are said to that a modulation, it is the process to improving the frequency of that signal which can be emits from the transmitter. They are taking part in the communication systems. The low frequency of the original signals which can be comes from that particular transmitter, due to this low frequency they could not be transferred a large distance, and we want to carry this particular frequency or particular signal in a large distance. They require the large frequency. To making the large frequency, use the same process, and this process is called as the modulations. Audio signal has low frequency. The frequency range of that particular audio signal is less than 20 kilohertz. The audio frequency or audio signal frequency, I'll be said here, audio signal has low frequency. Audio signal has low frequency. The range of that original frequency is less than 20 kilohertz. This is the range of that audio frequency, their original frequency, and due to the small value of that frequency, they could not be transferred a large distance. या छोट्याशा किंमतमुळे, छोट्याशा व्हॅल्यू त्या फ्रिक्वेन्सीमुळे, त्या पर्टिक्युलर सिग्नलचे ते लार्ज डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल करत नाहीये. हे प्रिव्हियस लेक्चरमध्ये देखील म्हणलेलं आहे आपण. ड्यू टू दिस they can't transmit a large distance for the transmitting of that same signal. Due to the large distance, we use one of the process. This process is called as modulation. In the modulation process, we are raising the frequency of that original audio signals. Then, and we use the high frequency. We use high frequency the high frequency for high frequency waves. After the modulation process, we use the high frequency wave. This wave is called carrier wave, which can be carrier the signals. This frequency wave is called carrier waves. They are be carrier the signal, audio signals. This is all about with the help of modulation process. In the modulation process, we are avoid to mixing up the lot of signals that comes from the different transmitter, from the different carrier waves. Modulation is helps. I will be use the different colors. The modulations helps to avoid. It will be helps to avoid the mixing of mixing of signals emits from different transmitter. I will be use the short form DIFF. This for the different transmitter with different carrier waves, with different carrier waves. Up to this part we are discussed in the previous lecture, but according or using the different colors we are start to discussions of the deeply of the modulation processes. Without using this process, signal will be mixed from the different transmitter. Signal mix होता है process वापरने तर signal क्या होता है process. It is a process. It is not only for the improving or rising the frequency of that original audio signal. It will be help to avoid the mixing of that particular signal that comes from the different transmitters. The modulation will be done by the modifying of amplitude. These also called as amplitude modulations. We are discussed three different types of the modulations, that is amplitude modulations, frequency modulations and phase modulations. They will be works or modifying on that particular things, that is amplitude modulations. This is used for the magnifying or modifying on the amplitude. Frequency modulation, this is used for the modifying of the frequency. Phase modulation, this is used for the modulations on the phase. This is proportional to the intensities. Let's start to discussions of the types. The modulations is modifying of amplitude on, first one is amplitude. This is called as amplitude modulations. Amplitude modulations. I will be use one of the graph for describing of that particular modulations. Let's draw the graph of here. For all three modulations will be described here. Consider one of the carrier waves will be here like this. This is the carrier wave. I will be denoted the different letters, that is A here. And one another for the modifying of that, you know all about that. This is the one of another signal types. This is called as B. And what is the amplitude modulations? Amplitude modulation, it means the amplitude will be improved in that particular area. I will be drawn here for the next type of the modulation, that is amplitude modulations. We are seeing the diagram difference between that. This is called as amplitude modulations. Amplitude modulations. And the next term is a frequency modulations here. The frequency modulations we are denoted as a different color, that is white. I will be used here, that is D. In the frequency modulations, this is the different, the small end in this area and again larger outsides and again it's smaller. This is the different types. That is another one next type, that is a frequency modulations. Frequency, this is the amplitude modulation, this is the frequency modulation. It can be average, modifying on the frequency of that particular waves. In the here they are modifying on the amplitude. Amplitude, it is the maximum displacement. This is this for displacement, and this is the time graph. Time and time versus displacement graph will be considered here for that particular carrier waves, and I will be discuss the amplitude modulations, frequency modulations. One another part, that is phase modulations. That is phase will be same. These two phase will be same in दॅट रेंज, दॅट पर्टिक्युलर रेंज, ह्या जी रेंजमध्ये आहेत, it is considered a range. In between the range, when we are seeing the amplitude modulations, the amplitude of that both range, त्या दोन्ही रेंजमध्ये जे काही amplitude आहे त्या पर्टिक्युलर वेवची विल बी सेम. फ्रिक्वेन्सीची जर फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन बघायचं असेल तर रेंजमध्ये ते फ्रिक्वेन्सी दिस ऑल्सो विल बी सेम. अँड फेज दे विल बी क्रस्ट, ट्रफ अँड क्रस्ट, क्रस्ट, ट्रफ अँड क्रस्ट. दिस इज द फेज मॉड्युलेशन्स. In A it is a carrier waves, and C that is a modulation, that is amplitude modulations. D will be frequency modulations, and last one that is phase modulations. These are three types of that different modulation will be discussed here. In the phase, in the amplitude modulations, they will be simple. In the amplitude modulation they will be simple to implicit. They will be simple in the amplitude modulation. In the amplitude modulation they will be simple to implements. They will be simple to implements and large range. They will be in a large range. Simple to implement and large range. This is the advantages of that particular modulation, that is amplitude modulations here. Some disadvantages we are discuss here. The disadvantages, mainly disadvantages of that particular modulations are, we are discussed, there will be disadvantages. The large, this will be low, very low efficiency. They will be very low efficiency. We are discuss the amplitude modulations. And next one is, it is provide some noise. It will be provide some noise, and it will be produce the not exact. We are seniors. This will be original waves, and this is the amplitude modulations waves. This is original waves we are seen in here. This is the original waves and this is the amplitude modulations wave. जे दोन वेव मध्ये डिफरंट आहे ते डिफरंट प्रोड्यूस करत असतं. ते मॉड्युलेशन झाल्यानंतर amplitude modulation झालेला जो वेव आहे तो ओरिजिनल वेवला सिमिलर नसतो. इट इज द सेकंड थर्ड disadvantages of the amplitude modulations. Second disadvantages is it will be create some noise. Noise means the unwanted signals will be comes. Unwanted signal तयार होत असतं amplitude modulations मुळे, आणि हे very large efficiency नाही, याची efficiency कमी आहे. This is all about the amplitude modulations. And the next term is frequency modulations. The next is second part, frequency modulations. In the frequency modulations, the frequency modulation curve will be complicated आहे. हा थोडासा it will be complex and not easy to implement. It is complex and not easy to implement, but it could not be creates noise. and ही जी काय आहे ह्या ओरिजिनलच्या थोडासा जवळ असतो. थोडासा ओरिजिनल जे काही वेव आहे त्याच्या थोडासा सिमिलर वेव्स प्रोड्यूस करत असतं आफ्टर द फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन्स. This is makes the large difference. This is could not be makes a large difference. This is the advantages of that particular waves. आणि frequency waves it can be improve the frequency जर वाढत असेल तर तो waves large distance कॅरी करतो. त्यामुळं द फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन झालेला जो काही वेव आहे फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन FM will be used for the large transmitting broadcasting or large broadcasting मध्ये वापरलं जातं. These are frequency modulation, all about the frequency. I can be said again. What is the uses of frequency modulation? The most useful of the frequency modulation is it will be used to transmitting of that particular signal in a large distance, because the frequency will be improved due to the process of the modulations, and it is used to broadcasting in a large distance. The last terms is third, that is phase modulations. Phase modulations. The phase modulation, it is easier than the frequency modulation, and it is most useful than the frequency modulations. Okay, this is all about three different types of the modulations. The modulations will be discussed shortly in the previous lectures. In these lectures we have discussed detailing what is the modulations. Modulation, it is the process of that, it is the process to improving of the rising of the frequency of original signals or audio signals. They could not be able to transmit a large distance before the modulation process. After the modulation process, the waves will be high frequency, and this high frequency wave is called as carrier waves. And the modulation process is also one of the next identifications or next applications of the modulation is it can be avoid to mixing of signals emitted from the different transmitter with the different carrier waves. Okay, and modulations are mainly three types of the modulation we are discussed here: amplitude modulations, frequency modulations, and phase modulations. In the amplitude modulation, the amplitude modulations, it can be changes their amplitude, improving that their amplitude. In a frequency modulations, frequency, it means the number of waves in a per second. This will be wavelength will be reduced here, number of waves in a second, that is frequency. And frequency modulation, it will improve the frequency. And phase modulation, it when it comes in the same phase modulations. In the three different modulations we are discussed here, in the amplitude modulation, they are improve the amplitudes and they create the noise. This is a high efficient, not a high efficiently. And the third most is this could not be passing the large distance. For the large distance we are used to frequency modulations, and it is a simple implement and large range. Range large असते कशाची? amplitude modulation से. In these lectures we are finished the topic of communication, electromagnetic wave and communication system, topic number 3rd, and last topic we'll discuss in the next lectures. Okay, now we are leave here.